Today I'll be spilling the beans on the 10 makes of 2021 that made me the happiest. Now there's nothing objective here, it's all subjective, it's just scale of happiness. And also I had 2 flops during the year. I'll also discuss a little bit about that. Stay tuned. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing. Now we are a couple of days into January already and I've had a bit of time to reflect and think about the things I made in 2021. If you followed the last week of December, I did a series where I shared a roundup of makes and I separated them into garment types. So you would have seen a separate video on toppers, bottoms, tops and dresses, totaling over 140 garments. Now looking back, there were a few I forgot to put into that roundup. There's always some I miss out, I don't know how. There were lots of makes and I enjoy all of them, I love all of them, but thinking back, I always tend to remember the feelings I was experimenting while I was sewing, whether it just be excitement or just a variety of feelings, and I know distinctly which ones made me the happiest. Both in the preparation phase, sometimes just getting myself wound up to sew them because I'd been thinking about it for so long, just the whole process of seeing it come to life. Sometimes these projects are the second time I make them, when I've tried to put my own twist into them or made a few changes that makes the garment truly mine, opposed to when you follow a pattern from A to Z, you know, to the T, and everything is like the designer intended. Sometimes there's a little thing that I'd like to tweak, make it my vision, like the way I see it. So I'm sharing 10 of those. It was extremely hard to choose. I am sharing them in no particular order. I cannot go through the process of choosing number 10, 9, and then the first one. I just cannot do them because I really love them all. So I've got them in no particular order. As I mentioned, nothing objective. I never want to make sewing super objective because it is really subjective. When you see a person's opinion on a garment, the way they found it, it's always in the view of the person that's making it, right? You can't make that objective, it's really subjective. So the first one I want to mention is my green Metra blazer from Love Notions. I made it later in the year, around October, and it was the second time I'd made it. The first time was when the pattern was released in February. I love that stripy version also, but even when I made that first one, I had the vision of my second version in mind already. I'd had in my stash for a couple of years already, beautiful scuba crepe fabric, double-sided, both sides really beautiful, the right side and the wrong side. The right side, a beautiful texture, a lighter green fabric, and the wrong side, a darker green tone, just smooth, no texture. Looked pretty on both sides, and I knew that because the fabric was like this and it also would not fray, if I cut it really carefully, I could make a really simplified version of the Metra with no hems, no facings, nothing, and then this lapel would just fall over and you could see the wrong side there. I found that project mega exciting to plan up, to think up. How was I going to finish these edges? I decided to top stitch them. I did some top stitching at the bottom of the pieces, like a hem, but it wasn't a hem, it's not going to fray. And the thing that also made it super fun for me was taking that 1-piece sleeve and transforming it into a 2-piece sleeve. I did purely for fun and I really enjoyed that as well. So yeah, happiness all around when I was making that. And when I was making the video, taking the pictures, I was just really excited. And I hope I can make more versions of that type of blazer, you know, if I find appropriate fabric as well. Really nice alternative and way quicker than the original version with facings and hems and all of that, which is also nice. The second make I'd like to highlight is the Seychelles top from Itch to Stitch. Now I'd made 3 of those, but one in particular is the highlight for me, which is a version I made in red linen. I love that one. It's a real classic in solid red. I love that color. But what makes it extra special and made me extra happy was when I got the idea to do the facing exposed. That means that instead of the facing being inside the garment, you sew it onto the wrong side of the garment and then you flip it so that it's exposed on the right side. It's really pretty. I think it's nice, decorative, and especially on a solid and especially on linen, I think it looks amazing. Then I decided to use some decorative stitches on my sewing machine. The sewing machine is very basic, but I found one I liked and I was able to sew all that decorative stitch to the fabric before cutting the facing. So it looks amazing, it looks really different. We usually have more stitches than what we need. At least I do. I have a ton of stitches there on the machine that I never use for anything. And that time I got to play around, have fun, try them, see which one I liked. And I came out with something that I was really proud of, and I also filmed it for you. I think a lot of you got ideas also to try that on your garments, so that was really fun for me, and that just made me extra happy. The third one I'd like to mention is one of my Betty dresses from Sinclair Patterns. I made two of them. I made a tropical print version as per the pattern. Love it. I'm not saying I don't love it, but the second one I made, I love it even more. All I did to the skirt pieces was slash and spread. I kept the same details of the pleats on the skirt and the bodice. Nothing was changed there. The only thing that changes is that the skirt has more volume and more flow, keeps the same overlap and tulip sort of look at the front. The fabric that I've chosen was going to work really well for that, ITY. ITY looks super beautiful on skirts that have a little bit more volume. So just doing the pattern work, doing the arts and crafts, cutting up, putting paper, all that sort of thing is so fun for me because I can visualize how it's going to look. And then when you finally have it done and you slip it on, oh my gosh, it's just the best thing. And it always happens after making the original. So after making the original, you usually know how to sew it, you know the bodice fits, that sort of thing. So second time around is just about having fun. So love that. I think it's one of the most beautiful dresses I made last year. So pretty, navy, it's really subdued, really classic, love it. The fourth one I want to highlight are the Upland Trousers from Itch to Stitch. I made them in a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous purple linen fabric. Actually, when I found the fabric online, they had about 5 meters left. That's maybe like almost 6 yards. I bought it all because I knew they were not going to restock. Purple fabric is really hard to find. So I was able to make the Upland Trousers, which are a really classic pair of trousers. They have a lot of details. It's not a pair of trousers that you make in an hour, for sure. I made a muslin and the fit was almost perfect from the get-go. Very few adjustments to make. And then it was all about customizing it to myself. I wanted the legs a little bit tapered, so I tapered them in a little. And the welt pocket at the back was a star. So pretty. I love it. Took my time. I did film these pants for Patreon, so every step I was doing with a lot of dedication and filming every single detail, which pushes me even harder. You know, I always want to show the best sewing I can when I'm filming it, of course. So very, very satisfying. Something in the sewing process just made my heart sing, basically. So love it. The zipper fly, it's got a facing inside, slash pockets, all lined inside, all the pocket area. So nice, so enjoyable. And those projects that you push yourself and have a little bit more details, you just feel so proud, you know. So it's always a good feeling. Now the fifth pattern was one of my Ballad Blouses. This was a pattern that was released back in May from Love Notions, a new pattern. And I was a pattern tester. I ended up making 4 versions. That usually tells you how much I loved it. But I think it was one of the last versions I made when I was just the happiest, because I got the idea to replace the gathers here on the shoulders with pin tucks, and the same at the back. Underneath the yoke you have a gathered area on the back. So I took all that extra volume that was meant to be gathers and transformed it into pin tucks, and so pretty. The fabric is black with Swiss dots. I think it's a fabric that's really pretty for being a solid, and black goes with everything. I've worn that one a lot and it's a really, really nice blouse, and it's just precious. Taking the time to figure out how to do the pin tucks was also super fun. I do show you how to do that on the channel, and yeah, just a happy make all around. Then number 6 is the Azalea top from Sinclair Patterns. Now when you see the line out here, you see all sorts of crossovers and you figure out how does this come together. So part of the process of following the instructions and seeing it magically come together made me really, really happy. I loved doing that. You know, there's a few places where I was a bit like scratching my head a little bit, and then I was thinking a few seconds, oh okay, and then I started getting it. I was able to practice that and film it in detail for you, but in the end, when you actually figure out what's going on, it's not as hard as it looks. And it was a really, really fun process. I'd never sewn a garment with that type of detail here on the front. And I made one with a print, I made one with black, love them both. I'm just including them both in one here. I brought them both on my trip to Chile. I've been wearing them a lot, and they were just really, really nice makes, really, really special makes. I found them really interesting to sew. The 7th make I'm including here is one of my perfect tunics from Wardrobe by Me. I made 2 of them. I love them both. They are both very pretty. They have the prettiest prints, but one of them specifically is what I made sleeveless as a hack, because the original version has long sleeves. but the fabric is so springy, so happy, so vibrant. The colors are so beautiful. It is like a polyester satiny type of thing, very soft, very flowy and light on the skin. Little fiddly to work with, but I still enjoyed sewing the placket and all the details, knowing that this blouse was going to be amazing in that fabric. So yeah, it was a really happy make. I could just see it made up in that print, and I love the way it looks in my closet. Whenever I see it, I see that print, those colors and the style of the blouse, and it just makes me happy even to just remember, you know. Love that. The 8th one, I knew I wanted to highlight one of the leggings I made from GreenStyle Creations, and I pondered whether it was the Cavallo leggings or the Spark leggings because I find them genius. You know, the Cavallo leggings don't have an inseam. The Spark leggings don't have a front crotch seam. I don't know. I ended up settling for the Spark leggings. I like them. I like the way they fit. The fact that they don't have a seam on the front is so comfortable. And because I like sewing with prints, it made it so easy to just cut them out, and I didn't need to match that front seam, which I had spent a lot of time, you know, with matching with the other leggings. So nice, so nice. I love the pockets on the side, the way that the color blocking works on the side back panel. Waistbands always nice, contoured, very nice. I mean, I've worn them a lot, and I love that print with the blue. So pretty. I feel amazing in those leggings. They're so comfortable, and I found it really nice that they didn't have that seam on the front. Definitely a pattern I want to make over and over again because I know the fit is right, and they are relatively simple to sew, although it doesn't look like they are. Once you get how the pattern pieces go together, it's a really fast make. Really enjoyed it. Leggings at this point make me super happy because there was a large, long period in my life where I thought I couldn't make them, that I thought store-bought was best, but I was so wrong. You know, now in Brazil I can find so many nice activewear materials where I feel like I can do a good job and I can get a comfortable garment that's going to work and perform well for activities that, you know, require movement and stretching, and so good. So yeah, I'm always really happy to make my own leggings now, which I never thought I would do in the past. The 9th pattern I want to highlight as one of the happiest is the Flossom Top Dress from Pattern Emporium. Now, I had just begun sewing Pattern Emporium in 2021, although I'd been collecting the patterns since 2019. But when I saw the liner and the type of cutout neckline here, so pretty. I saw the video that Kate made on her channel. I had apprehensions about how revealing this area would be, because I saw some of the tester photos where you could see a lot of cleavage, and in other testers you couldn't, so I wasn't really sure how that worked. But it ended up being that it was perfect for me. I made it. I show a little bit of upper chest skin here, but nothing really. I'm not showing cleavage, and it's a really unique and fun thing to wear that it just goes out of the ordinary of your typical neckline that's just got fabric all around. Really fun to put together, not hard, and the fabric I chose was really pretty. Type of dress that I like, nice and form fitted. It's not a bodycon dress, it's not that tight, but it's nicely fitted to the body. And yeah, I loved it. It just made me really happy to make it, and I feel amazing in a style like that. I wasn't expecting, you know, to feel that good in that dress, but I did. I made a top version also that's really cute, but I think the most impactful version for me, for the way I felt, was the dress. Now, the last pattern I want to highlight, number 10, maybe I would put this as the most happiest of them all, maybe. I'm toying with the idea, is the Lagan coat from Itch to Stitch. Now, this is a pattern that we tested back in February. I was literally sewing this in the middle of my summer. I was like sweating while I was handling this wool. Yeah. But I was excited because the muslin turned out really well. I did my adjustments. I could just see it made up, and the fabric was so unique. Light type of material, wool blend. It's not the heaviest of wools. I don't get the coldest of winters at all. But on top of that, it's got gold paint speckled all over it, and it makes it look bronzy, goldish color. So beautiful. Easy to work with. Everything turned out so well. I was also super excited because I knew I was sewing the full sew along for the channel. I rarely post full sew alongs on the channel. I just choose features of patterns that I think are more interesting to highlight. But I knew for that one, that was a special one. I wanted to give you that gift. And I hope a lot of you made a coat. You know, it's so satisfying, you know, when you think you can never make something like that. I think achieving it gives you a lot of empowerment, and I certainly experienced that when I sew garments that I'm not planning to make, that I don't think I can make, and then I end up making and loving. So I wanted to give that gift to you. So sewing it and filming it was a really special process for me. I felt really happy with what I was doing. So proud of the way it turned out, the purple lining. So pretty. It's always super nice to make a coat. So I would maybe say that the Lagan coat was my top one of 2021 for sure. Now also, I wanted to share in this video 2 flops. By flops I mean fails. Now I rarely have sewing fails as such, like that I cut something wrong or something really important in the sewing department is rarely a factor for me. But what I do fail in still occasionally is sometimes not choosing the correct fabric. And it's something I take really seriously. I do a lot of fabric to pattern matching videos. I feel that I'm sort of quite experienced in that. But as always, we can always have a little pitfall there and sometimes not choose the best fabric for the pattern. So then you make it again with a better fabric and it's a complete different experience, a different fit sometimes, the way the garment looks. And that's what happened with one of the Gothenburg tops I made from Each to Stitch. Really easy pattern. I think it's just got 3 pattern pieces. It will take you less than an hour to sew. It's got a bust dart. And what did I choose? A Ponte Roma. And it's not just about the Ponte Roma, you know, it was about that green Ponte Roma. It was really stiff. It was just too structured and too stiff, and it felt really, it didn't feel good on the skin. It felt scratchy. It felt like I was wearing a piece of cardboard. It wouldn't drape nice, you know, you have these weird drag lines because the fabric was just so inappropriate for the style. Although I know other people use Ponte Roma, but it was a softer type of Ponte Roma. I can certainly tell the type when I see the ones I have in my stash. Ponte Roma is actually the type of weave of the fabric, but it can be composed of different things. You know, you'll find cotton Ponte Roma, some have some rayon mixed in there or polyamide. This green one had a lot of polyester. I don't know, it was just the most horrible fabric for the pattern. So I'm not wearing that. I've already torn that apart. It's there. I'm going to use it for something else, but it was just a really bad pattern to fabric pairing that I made. That the other 2 versions I made of the Gothenburg top with nice fabrics, those turned out amazing, but that one I did not like. So I call that a fail because I was not going to wear it. It was something I was very unhappy with that I've already unpicked and it's not going to be worn. The other flop that I would say was also fabric choice. I'd made during the year a Claudia dress from Sinclair Patterns. Really nice athletic knit. You know that I use athletic knits to make dresses and other garments, not just leggings. So that one was really good for that Claudia dress. It was perfect. The Claudia dress had minimal negative ease, just a little bit, looked perfect. It's black, it's got a print, but on the wrong side it's white. So this is where I went wrong because leggings usually have a lot of negative ease. There's much more negative ease than what you'd find in a bodice or a dress or something like that. So when the fabric stretched to fit the body that goes inside, you can see the white area of the fabric because the fabric is white. It's just that they print on the black with the other things. So I made them bike shorts. It was a small piece I had left, just enough to make some bike shorts. They definitely work. They're very comfortable. I am going to wear them at home, but they look terrible. When I put them on, they just turned white all over and it was just, they call it a whiteout effect. It looks horrible. I would not go out into the road like that, into the street. So I'm really careful now. If I'm going to make leggings, I need to make sure that the quality of the material is way up there, that it's a fabric that's really structured, that has great recovery, which wasn't the case for this one. It was softer, more stretchy, less recovery. I don't know, it looks horrible as leggings and I call that a fail because it's a garment I'm not going to be proud of wearing out in the street. I could just wear it at home. I use the Cavallo leggings pattern, which is a pattern I love. It's just that I chose the wrong fabric for it. So I hope you learn from my mistakes as well. Even when you think you're really good at matching, there's always mistakes that can happen. I make them, but we just keep on going. Don't let those things make you sad. It's only fabric after all. It's only a piece of clothing. It's nothing that important, you know? So that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this chatty type of video. I hope you can think back about what you've made for yourself that's made you the happiest, because you can sort of bring that happiness back just by remembering those things, and sort of makes you relive the moment. I love doing that. So that's all from me today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I will see you again with more sewing. Bye.